Good evening to everyone listening to our market report of 24 June 2020. My name is Leon Du Plessis and I will quickly summarize what happened in the auction room today. Catalogue 30 were sold with 6,707 bales that were on offer. 61% of the sale consisted of medium length wool, 40 to 59 millimeter in length. 76% of the wool on offer were finer than 20 micron. And 91% were sold with a passed in and no bid rate of 2.7%. The high percentage of wool that were sold, I think, were excellent. If we have a look at the Aussie market that had a passed in rate of about 12.7% for the same week. Our early market indicators show that the South African market remained unchanged, as well as the Aussie market for the same week. We are currently trading at 143 Rand 36, and we were trading on a year-to-year base same time last year on 202 Rand and 42 cents. This leaves us at trading 29.2% lower than a year ago. If we have a look at all the major currencies that play a role, the Rand traded 1% weaker against the US dollar and traded 1.2% weaker against the Aussie dollar and 0.5% weaker against the pound. A stable market developed today with strong interest in the best style wools, specifically in the 40 to 55 millimeter length bracket, meaning that again our 18.5 micron and finer wools were quite sought after. Our average style in the same length category also gained a percent or two compared to last week. Our RWS marked clips sold dearer, up to 2 to 3% dearer than last week, and at this stage, we are starting to receive quite a lot of seeded wool, and heavily seeded wool were well discounted for the day. If the quantity of the clip allows it, my advice to our producers will be to maybe split the seeded lines in two, mark them as a heavily and a mild seeded lots. This could generate up to a 20 Rand a kilo difference between the heavily and the mild seeded lots. So if the quantity of the clips allow it, I will advise our producers maybe just to split those two lots. Our main buyers for the day were Limbriere with 1,629 bales, Standard Wool with 1,722, Modiano bought 1,661 bales, and Stuken bought 1,052 bales. And then last but not least, we would like to congratulate our producers for the day. The highest prices were achieved by Hendrik Bekes from Ermelo, who achieved the price of 157 Rand, the highest price. Mr. Pierre and Jacobus Leroux from Fort Beaufort received 150 Rand 50 on one of their specific lines, and then again Hendrik Bekes with 150 Rand and 10 cents in the third place. Our next auction will be the 1st of July 2020, and again with about 7,500 bales that will be on offer. And then again, I just want to say thank you to all our buyers and all the sellers who made the auction possible for us. Next, we will have a look at a short promotional video of our digital auction system, and then after the video, Jacques Taljaard will quickly summarize what happened in the Star Sale room today.
Now one more set. Going once, twice, at 750,000.
We made buying and selling of your livestock easy. Having biosecurity, traceability, and a digital supply chain in mind, we brought you the BKB online auction platform. With an international approved, user-friendly platform, you can buy or sell your animals online to an unlimited audience. From the ring to your home, BKB, the trusted home of agriculture.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, it was an interesting day. The Star Sale Room, I think the surprise of the day were the correction that we saw in the carding locks that came down with more or less 20%. Yeah, so hopefully we could keep these levels for the next two remaining sales. If you look at the carding lamps, that'll be your deals. It followed the market. I think they were 3% dearer. As well as your white wools, you're looking at a 22 micron at 104 Rand clean. So I think that is excellent prices. Thank you, gentlemen. Gert, over to you.
Jock, thank you very much. And again, great having you and being with you guys. Looking at our auction, on the digital auction, I'll have a quick chat of what happened on Monday regarding the auction, and then we will move over to a discussion regarding our catalogs for the Monday Wiener and store lamb auction, and then we'll quickly touch on our stud auction catalog. But for now, just returning to Monday's auctions, prices are still on a very high level due to a shortage in supply. If you look at the store lambs, 4 to 6 months old, not shown the young lambs with an average of less than 34 kilograms, we averaged a very good 41 Rand and 94 cents. And it's for the 5th week running that the average of this particular store lambs ran between 41 and 41 Rand and 94 cents. So a very stable market over the last 5 auctions. And the highest price then going to Mr. DA and Z van Sale, and the highest price of 42 Rand and 25 cents. Looking at the slightly older store lambs, Sean, 34 kilos and less, average price there more or less 2 Rand less than the younger lambs with wool on. We're seeing a trend in the market that we can pick up on a rule of thumb that those lambs go more or less 2 Rand less than your younger lambs with their wool on. The highest price there then 40 Rand and 75 cents from Mr. Dickie Vermeulen from Phillipstown. Looking at the fat lambs and fat ewes, fat lambs 38 to 54 kgs, an average, a healthy average of 38 Rand and 86 cents, with the highest price then now 39 Rand and 75 cents from Mr. Venter from Multino. We'd like to congratulate him. Moving over to the fat ewes, 24 Rand and 82 cents on average then, C grades, with an average weight of 58 to 66.5 kgs. We had 2 lots sold in at the highest price of 25 Rand. The sellers there, Mr. GWP farming from Burgersdorp, and Tinus Duplessis from Middelburg. So again, on a strong auction, and ended off well. We sold in the region of 2,600 sheep on the auction. Looking into next week, I think we can expect much of the same going into next week, as there's still a shortage in supply of store lambs. I think we really can see the effect of the drought coming through now, and it's reflecting in the higher slaughter prices as well. So going into next week again, we're expecting much of the same. That's concerning on Monday's auction. We'll be having our next auction again on Monday. Every Monday at 11 o'clock, we'll have our store lamb and wiener auction. We're just going to have a quick look at the 2 catalogs, formats of catalog. The one is for our digital auction on Mondays, which we call our store lamb and wiener sale. This is the front page of the catalog, and there's a quick summary of what's on offer on the sale. And obviously, our auctioneer is Donnie Strauss, and his contact details. And then a function on the front page is you can see it there. Click here to register for the auction, for the digital auction. If you're a buyer and interested in buying animals, you just click on the catalog. This catalog is available in PDF format and can easily be WhatsApped to you. It's also available on BKB's website. And then another function, if you're just interested in looking at the auction or just as a viewer, you can just click there as well. And if you struggle to sign in, we have a number you can call there at the bottom of the screen right now, on the bottom of the front page of the catalog, if you need any assistance with login details or if you have any questions regarding the digital auction. Then we move to our second page quickly. It's just our executive summary. That's a breakdown of all the lots that's on offer. For a quick reference. And then I'll just take you through lot number 1. Lot number 1 is we very strong of the opinion that we need to give the buyer as much as information as possible. You can have a look there. If we just maybe zoom in a little bit, all the information regarding the particular animals is available there. You see the age, and then also, which is important, is the processing and the drenching and all the inoculations, the age of the animal, the weight, as much as, and geolocation as well. So we really try and give the buyer as much information as possible in order to make an informed buying decision. On your right-hand side, right top, you'll see there's a QR code. That's you can scan that with a QR scanner and the video will pop up. The reason why we put that in is if you've printed out the catalog and you can quickly scan the QR code for the video material. Looking just on the right-hand side of that is the video. You can just click on the video and you will have a video of the animals of the particular lot. So yeah, we try and give as much information as possible in order for the buyer to take take a good decision regarding his purchase. Yeah, and I think we can have a quick look at our stud auction catalog as well. This is the Leeuwald catalog. The auction is tomorrow. Leeuwald Bonsmara Stoet digital auction. It will be a simulcast, so there will be animals will be moving through the ring, and the animals will be sold digitally as well. Again, you can have a look there. Click on the to register, click to partake in the auction, and the option as well if you just want to look at the auction as a viewer. Maybe just scrolling down, if we move to the first lot, there's the 3-generation pedigree of the Bonsmara bull. So all the information is there, and it's very accessible. As I said, it's in a PDF format on your phone. And then the last thing is the video. Maybe just I want to show you what happens if we click on the video. So, and there the video plays. So it's just a function. You get it WhatsApp or email to you, the catalog, and you basically just click on the video, and there you have the footage of the particular lot that's on sale. Yeah, we're entering our bull and ram production auction season. So I really like you to invite you to go to the BKB website and have a look at all the upcoming auctions, whether you're interested in cattle or small stock. We have a lot of auctions actually that has the digital component working for it. Leon, that's from my side. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Yeah. Good. Thank you, Gert. Tonight we are honored to have Mr. Anthony Kirsten of the Stuken Group as our guest, and we would just like to ask him a few questions. Mr. Anthony, if it's possible, could you maybe tell us a little bit more about the Stuken Group?
Good evening, Leon. First of all, thank you very much for the opportunity to join you this evening. I think it's quite a nice opportunity for us as buyers to interact a little bit with the growers and the producers, even if it's not face to face. But in these times, I think it's quite a nice new development. I think most of the producers probably have heard the name Stucken before. We're a very old family company that was founded in 1863, so we've been around for 160 years. We were founded in Germany. My grandfather came out to South Africa in 1951 after the war to trade wool, and he started very much trading greasy wool, and eventually we progressed into processing and were able to be involved in a processing facility at Gabonings in Uitenhage, where we were involved in the scouring, carbonizing, and combing of wool, and then we got involved in mohair, of course, as well. And we are still very much involved in most of those activities today, although we are focusing probably more and more on some niche markets and value adding in spinning and weaving as well. But having been a very old family-owned company, we've seen our fair share of crises in the world, and we're going through one of them now with this COVID-19 pandemic, but we'll get out the other side as well, and hopefully there'll be better times ahead for everyone.
Anthony, indeed, this might be one of the toughest ones that we will go through. Anthony, why we get the question quite frequently, why are we not doing wool processing in South Africa? Why are we moving all our wool out and not processing them locally?
Leon, I think it's a good question. It's a question we hear quite a lot, but I think it's fundamentally a structural issue. As you will remember, and as many of the more mature growers, let's put it that way, will remember, probably 20 years ago, 80% of the South African wool clip was processed in South Africa. But since 1994, when the new dispensation and the democratic dispensation arrived, South Africa obviously took a decision to be a very open economy, and there were very few barriers to entry. And we were forced as processors to compete with particularly processors in Asia at the time, and increasingly in China, on what was, by all accounts, not really a level playing field, because we were competing against heavily subsidized industry. But at the same time, I think a lot of the local manufacturers were supported by the big local retailers. But when the economy opened up in the mid-90s, they, of course, decided, look, we can buy cheaper in China and other Asian countries. And I think that eroded the ability of local processors to supply the local industry. And I think a lot of the traditionally large textile manufacturers in South Africa really collapsed at that point in the late 90s and early 2000s. Probably in 2000, the early 2000s, the government in South Africa decided that was a problem, because obviously a lot of jobs were lost, and they implemented quite an extensive and actually very effective incentive program for manufacturing in South Africa. But of course, it was too little too late, because most of the guys were gone already. So it really is about trying to maintain what we have. But as I said at the beginning, I think it's fundamentally a structural issue. And of course, in order to build it up, you need investors who have got confidence in the future. And that, of course, at the moment, I think we all agree is in quite short supply, given where we are as a country, as an economy, and probably as in the world at the moment.
Anthony, then if we're looking into what's happening in Australia right now, we can see that there's quite a big stockpile building in Australia. How do you think that will impact our South African market?
Leon, I think we've come out of a period over the last probably 3 years where we've actually had a really strong wool market with very good prices and obviously exceptional clearance levels. But it's not abnormal when markets fall for growers not to sell and elect to hold their stock. And I think the fact that we've got a bit of a stockpile now in Australia and probably a smallish little reserve here in South Africa as well, I would guess, that that is going to be a function of supply and demand. And we really need, as the market picks up and restores and confidence grows and prices improve, you'll find that stockpile will dissipate quite quickly. The challenge will be in the very short term. That stockpile obviously creates a little bit of a mindset of, well, there's plenty of wool and we don't have to push too hard because we can get it. But I think that's going to be very much a sentiment and market driven thing. And I stress again, I don't think it's particularly abnormal in a period of sharp price falls like we've seen in the last 6 months that there will be a little bit of a stockpile that is created.
Anthony, if we have a look from Europe, are there any signs of interest starting to show in Europe? Are they getting more aggressively into the market?
Look, it's our wool business is centered more in the east, so I'm probably not the best person to judge that. But when we look at Europe and what's been going on there, particularly in the big textile countries like Italy and Turkey, they obviously are ahead of South Africa on this whole COVID-19 merry-go-round. And we are definitely seeing signs of improvement and slowly increasing production and capacities in these various factories. So I think there's definitely a slight upward momentum. But of course, in any market, it will really depend on the confidence of the consumer to go out and spend their money. That's what's going to really drive demand and improve sentiment and get the market up and going. And I think if we look at what has historically been one of the biggest buyers here in South Africa in recent years, Modiano, they've been not as aggressive as they have been in the past, in the last few weeks and months. And that's probably because of what's been going on in Europe. It's perfectly reasonable that the biggest top maker in Europe will scale back a little bit when demand falls the way it has. And today they were much stronger than they have been in recent weeks. And maybe that's the start of a sign. But, one swallow doesn't make a summer. I think Europe's got a long way to go. But I would like to suggest that probably a little bit of confidence is slowly returning, but it's going to require cash in consumers' hands that's really going to make things happen. And we need people to go out and spend money on new kit.
Anthony, thanks a lot. We appreciate your time. And thanks a lot to everyone who was listening to us. We will be doing the same thing next week. Have a good evening.